Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Simple Art for Adults. My name is Erin, and I just this evening kind of felt like coloring a little bit in this coloring book by Edwina McNamee, I think is how you say it. The name of the book is Tir Na Nollag. I'm not sure how to say that either, but it is a very, very cute, cutesy Christmas coloring book. I have gotten started. Actually got a little start on it last night on this page, and I was coloring it with my Black Widow and Scorpion colored pencils, and you're going to see a little shine here because of the lamp being where it is. I try to move it. Sorry about my arm. Sorry. So I decided I wanted to do this in like browns, pinks, and greens. There's a really good selection of colors in these sets of pencils. There's 224 sets. There's the original ones, which are the Black Widow colored pencils. Those come in a box. And then there are the Scorpion colored pencils, which come in a tin. So there's a total of 48 different colors. The colors are not the same. They do complement one another. I know a lot of people were curious about that. So I did figure that I would just go ahead and clarify that. I may have to take a break here in a minute because my dogs are in here and they're like very hyper, so I may actually have to go stick them in the other room with the children so that they will be calm. It's about 60 degrees here in southern Indiana at 6 o'clock in the evening, well after dark, in late November, which is just absolutely insane. So I had to open my bedroom window as well because the air conditioner obviously isn't on, and I'm cooking. Like, legit, I'm cooking. I'm sweating. It's hot. So had to open up the window, and so I do live relatively close to a major highway. So if you hear traffic noise, I am sorry about that too. But now that we have all that out of the way, these pencils so far have been really, really nice. They're just black wood pencils. Now the original Black Widow ones don't have anything on them except for the name of the pencil, which is Black Widow. They don't have any real identifying marks like numbers or color names. So the only way you know what color you're using is right there, the tip of the pencil. So you can also tell on these by the back of the core. Now the Scorpions don't even have that. The Scorpions are capped at the back. But the Scorpions do also have color names and numbers on them to make it easier for you to tell what's what. Now there is a reason why I chose this particular book today, and it's based on a conversation that we started several days ago actually on the Facebook group, and one that I addressed a little this morning, and I'm going to go ahead and see what I can do about addressing it a little bit more here today, but I am going to go and put the dogs in the other room, so give me just a moment to do that. Alright, sorry about that. Thank you so much for being patient with me, although that was only like, you know, a split second for you. It was quite a bit of time for me. And now we have the world's loudest car going down the highway, so. And the neighbors are honking at each other, apparently. It's not my night to do a video tonight, guys. It's just really not. So I'm going to color a little bit here. This book is printed on Createspace paper. And this has been a question that's been asked a lot in the Facebook group as of late. What is Createspace paper? Why is it so bad? How do you know if you're getting it? So I figured what we would do today is kind of try to address some of those questions. Createspace is like a publishing platform on Amazon. And basically what it does is it allows authors and coloring book illustrators to basically upload their files to Amazon, where Amazon will print it on this paper for them. It's less expensive than traditional means of publishing, which allows these people to get their work out to the general public much more quickly. And because it's more affordable for them, in turn, it's generally more affordable for you as well as the colorist. I'm zooming in a little bit here. There are different types of Createspace paper. Some of them are higher quality than others. A book that was printed through Createspace that was meant for you to read, it doesn't really make any difference if it was printed on Createspace paper. But if you're going to put colored pencil on it, then it starts to make a little bit more of a difference, because then you have to be concerned about what the texture of the paper is like and things of that nature. And so that is the issue with most colors when it comes to Createspace paper, is the texture of it, the way it feels, the way your colored pencils feel on it. Now this particular book is printed on a higher quality Createspace paper. So you're not going to run into a lot of the issues where you can't get your colored pencils to lay down on it right. These pencils, I do really believe that the cores of these pencils are very, very high quality. I'm having a lot of fun using them. But what I can do is kind of give you like a little drawing. As some of you guys saw today, I'm not the best artist, but I'm going to do my best here to show you guys what I mean when I talk about the differences in paper. All right, so let's get a regular pencil. So with normal paper, like let's say you're working on a vellum surface, right? And it's very toothy, which basically means if you're looking at the paper long ways, so if you're going to hold the paper and look at it like this, what you would see, if you could see it at like the microscopic level, would be something like this, okay? So there's these little hills and valleys. So when you come over the top of it, right, you take your colored pencil and you're coming in like at this angle, right? So you're coming in and it's hitting the tops of those peaks and picking up the color. So that's how you put your color down on your paper. So this is what, you know, assume for a minute that this is like an actual high quality paper surface. With Createspace, what you end up is something more like this, okay? It's very tight. The peaks are very sharp. They're very close together. All right, so this is going to be Createspace paper. This is going to be normal paper. So when you take your colored pencil and you're ready to fill in the tooth of that paper, you can just come in and do so, right? You just come in, you might have to push a little harder, you may have to add a bunch of layers, but you can really get down in there and you can add your colors. Now when it comes to Createspace paper, because the way the tooth of the paper is manufactured, the way the paper itself is manufactured, you're coloring and you're coloring and you're coloring and you're coloring, and then you start putting more pressure, and it doesn't really make any difference what you do. You can't really get the pencil all the way down into that tooth because it's just so deep, and because the peaks of the paper are so very close together. It doesn't allow for the point of your pencil to poke all the way down into the tooth and cover up all the white spaces. So when people ask me, well, what do you prefer to use in Createspace paper? A lot of people will use markers, and that's okay. I don't recommend using your more expensive markers in it because, again, it does have a very, very rough tooth, and it will eventually tear up the nibs of your markers. So as long as you're aware of that, as long as you're aware that it will cause your markers to fail on you more quickly, you still want to use them, then by all means go ahead. I do sometimes. I just use the Cali Art markers, so it's not like I'm, you know, going through Copics or anything on the paper. As far as pencils are concerned, with Createspace paper, I typically would not go with a soft pencil. These are something, the Black Widow is something kind of in between a soft and a hard pencil, so it's not awful. I'm actually doing pretty well with it on this paper. I can tell that I'm struggling with it some. The best pencils I found for this paper are going to be like Crayola, to be completely honest with you. Something that's really, really hard, and that will give you a nice sharp tip that will allow you, where'd my page go? Gosh darn it. That will allow you to, there it is, to get down into those really tight valleys. So that's basically how you would, that's the difference between Createspace paper and normal paper. And to recognize whether or not you are getting Createspace paper, the first thing you want to do is check your Amazon order. If you go down to the publisher information, which is on the product information page, and you go down to where it just says more information or whatever it is that it says, it'll usually say in there Createspace Independent Publishing, but not always. Sometimes you're just surprised when you get the book and you're like, whoa, this is Createspace. So what you want to look for in that case would be something like the page that has the barcode like this, and the Made in the USA with the name of the city, the state, and the date down at the bottom. So this is the indicator that you have a book that is printed on Createspace paper. These are made in all kinds of different places. I know that probably the worst one I think is Lexington, Kentucky. That's the one that when people get it, they just cringe. Somebody mentioned that there's a Createspace printing somewhere else. I don't remember where. This one's South Carolina, which is the first time I've ever seen it. And for Createspace paper, this is not that bad, to be honest with you. I'm actually enjoying coloring in this book right now. And so to be fair, if I'm enjoying myself instead of getting frustrated at the paper with a softer pencil, then it's not the paper. The paper in this book is not the really horrible, low quality Createspace paper that, the first Createspace paper I encountered that just almost made me want to cry. Of course, you guys know I'm a Prismacolor lover. I love my Prismacolor pencils. The really bad Createspace paper, the really super cheap paper, there's no way you're going to put a Prismacolor on there. I mean, you can use a Prismacolor color pencil on it, but you're going to find that you're going to need a really sharp blender pencil to push it all the way down into the tooth, or you're going to need your blending stump and your Gamsol, and you're going to really have to work it down in there. If you're somebody that doesn't mind the tooth of the paper showing through, then it may not be that bad for you. I don't like that look. I like it when the tooth of the paper is completely filled up with the pencil, and it looks smooth, and it looks that's just what I like. It's a personal preference. There's no right or wrong. Leaving the tooth of the paper showing through is, you know, fine. It's not wrong. It's just not what I prefer. So just to be clear. But I'm enjoying this book. I'm enjoying these pencils. They are, so far, they're very, very nice. I have encountered a few issues so far with the Black Widow pencils breaking on me. And I know that some people have had that problem with them and other people haven't. I'm working very closely with the manufacturer of these pencils, and I didn't actually pay for these. These were sent to me for the purpose to review and to show you guys on my channel. But like I always tell anybody who sends me something for free, it's not going to bias my reviews. You guys are always going to get my honest to goodness opinion of something. If I think it's great, you're gonna know it's great. If I think it's terrible, you're gonna know I think it's terrible. If I think it's in between, you're gonna know that too. So a little bit more about these particular pencils. They are like somewhere in between hard and soft. The pigment load is very nice. Again, typically with any Createspace paper, when you take a pencil to it, unless it's something very hard like a Crayola or a Marco Raffine, you're going to wear the tip out. It's going to be like gone in a few inches. That's not been the case with these pencils. I haven't sharpened this particular green since I started, and there's 2 layers of it from here all the way up to here. And I haven't had to sharpen it yet, and for this particular paper, that's not bad. So I'm not pushing very hard. This is I'd say a medium light layer that I'm putting on here, because I do have 2 more layers to go. And it is giving me a nice deposit of pigment. I'm very, very pleased with the colors. I haven't tried the Scorpion set out yet. I'm still working exclusively out of the Black Widow set. I did have a couple pencils that wouldn't sharpen for me, so I do have a replacement set in the mail. We're hoping that something just happened to that particular batch in transit or something like that, and they got smacked around, and that's the problem. Some of the pencils seem like this one seems to be okay so far, so there's that. So I'm going to come back over here to this leaf, and I'll show you some of the blending and layering that they can do. So this is my light green, the one I've been working with. So now I'm going to take my medium green that came in the set, and I'm just going to put a light layer on over the top, and as you can see, it just goes on. Let me zoom in. Maybe look. It goes on like butter, guys, and there's just nothing to it. It just goes right on there. And this is just light pressure. If I give it more pressure, it'll get even darker. And then I'll take my even darker green and come down to the very, very base of it and give it a nice little shadow. And then again with my medium green, I'm going to blend into that dark shadow. Fade it out as I come up toward the tip. And then with my light green, I'm going to go over everything with a nice heavy pressure. And that should give me a nice blend. See, guys, I mean, even for Createspace paper, that is phenomenal. That's like probably the best results I've ever had on this paper. And that's no joke. So these pencils, I don't know if it's the paper. I don't know if it's the pencils because, like I said, I've never seen the Createspace that was made in South Carolina before. Maybe it's a combination of the two, but I do think that these pencils may now become my go-to for Createspace books. Before I say that for certain, and before everybody like runs out and, you know, and does whatever, let me try this in some other Createspace books first. I don't want to tell you they're the best thing ever in the books, and then, you know, you get one of the lower quality ones and they're about like Prismacolors in there. And once again, it's not a reflection of the quality of the pencil, it's the paper. So, I know a lot of you guys, like I said, have been asking questions about Createspace paper and, you know, what's wrong with it. So hopefully, oh, guys, I'm way out of frame. I forgot I zoomed in so far. Sorry about that. Hopefully, we've answered some of those questions that you guys had with this little talk. So how is everyone's evening? Mine has been crazy busy. I got most of my kitchen cleaned up and put the dishes in some nice hot soapy water to soak. I don't know about you guys, but I think I'm like one of the only Americans left who does not own a machine dishwasher. I don't have one. I had one. I did have one, but there was a law passed several years ago that the companies who made the soap for the automatic dishwashers had to stop putting sulfates in there because it was bad for the environment. So about the time that all these manufacturers switched their soap formula, the soap that they made instead just was awful. And no matter what I did, no matter what I put in my dishwasher, it just absolutely would not get my dishes clean. So I found myself washing the vast majority of my dishes by hand anyway. So I sold my dishwasher, and now I wash dishes for a family of 4 or sometimes 5 by hand. So they're soaking right now. We had a balsamic vinaigrette marinated pork chops, which were absolutely divine. If you've never tried that, I highly, highly recommend it. Just take your whatever pork chops you like, whether it's, you know, the tenderloin medallions or just, you know, the random cut pork chops. Put them in a Ziploc bag with about 1/3 of a bottle of balsamic vinaigrette. Shake it up real good and let it sit for a few hours. Oh my goodness, they were delicious. And we had some apples and pears that were left over that weren't going to all get eaten in time. So I sliced those up with some butter and cinnamon and brown sugar. We had baked apples and pears. And then we also had roasted garlic and olive oil couscous just out of the box because it's easy and it's good. So that's what we had. So, and if you don't know what couscous is, and it's basically what it is it's pasta. It's just like spaghetti. It's just that instead of it being in like a string or a shape or a bow tie or a twist or, you know, something like that, it's just a tiny, tiny, tiny little pearl almost. It's teeny tiny. So it cooks up in like 5 minutes. It's the perfect little side dish when you don't feel like, you know, fooling around with peeling potatoes or, you know, standing over your rice or whatever. You just do some quick couscous and it's good to go. So everybody was really pleased with supper tonight, including me. I'm really full. Fortunately, I made most of it in the oven. So I don't have too many pots and pans that I have to clean tonight, which makes me happy because I don't like scrubbing pots and pans at all. I don't know how long this video is going to be. I do have several things I have to get done this evening. I am playing taxi for someone tonight too, so I may receive just about any second now a message that I have to leave. But we'll see what we can do. See how long I'll get to hang out with you guys for a while tonight. And I keep going outside the lines. Again, I usually, with these tight spaces like this, I'm usually really up close to my work. I need bifocals, I think. I'm trying to be in denial of the fact that I really think I need bifocals. But things like this, like the fact that, like if I put my glasses on right now, because I'm nearsighted, so if I put my glasses on right now, I'd be able to turn around and look out my window and see, you know, for miles. But I wouldn't be able to see what's in front of my face right here. So when I color with my glasses off. And when I'm working at my computer, I work at my computer with my glasses off too, because it makes things blurry. I can see far away with them on just fine, but up close is another story. So have an eye appointment coming up on the 4th of December, I think. So I will let you guys know about whether or not my predictions are correct. But I bet a lot of you are going to agree with me. So if you guys, any of y'all have bifocals, and what I'm describing to you sounds like, you know, what you were experiencing before you got yours, please let me know. I had the hardest time getting used to wearing glasses in the first place. So I don't know how in the world I'm ever going to get used to wearing bifocals. I don't know. I guess it's one of those things that you don't know how you're going to do it until you actually do it. So the Black Widow set of pencils, which are the very first set that were made by MediHealth One, is the name of the company who makes them. They come in a set of 24, and out of that set of 24, there are, I think, they're so hard to see what the colors are, but I think there are 3 greens, and I think I'm using them all right here. So there are 3 greens, and then there's like a blue-green, like a teal color in there. Now the scorpions, I haven't dug into the scorpions yet. Because my plan was to use the Black Widows until I really felt like I was familiar with them before I picked up the very first scorpion, just to see whether they actually are the exact same pencil formulation, just with different colors. Not that I don't believe the pencil manufacturer or anything like that. I'm not saying that. I just like to experience things for myself. You know, sometimes when we order things from Amazon or whatever, we're told they're, you know, incredibly pigmented, soft core, artist grade pencils, and we get them and discover that, oh, well, maybe that's just really not so much the case. And I'm sure that it's happened to a lot of us, myself included. So when it comes to me, like, testing a product and deciding whether or not it's something I would 100% recommend to you guys, I'm gonna test it out my way. So I'm not trying to say that, you know, they're not good pencils or that they're not the exact same formulation. I want to see for myself. I've been working with colored pencils for about, let's see. Well, believe it or not, I've only been working with colored pencils for a little while. I've only actually been coloring for a little while, to be fair. I started in spring of this year. Like many of you all, what I did was, and I'm sure that you guys read the blog post that I did, some of you, I went to Walmart and I was having a bad day, and so I grabbed a coloring book and some Crayola crayons, and I brought them, or Crayola color pencils, and I brought them home, and I did color with them, but I realized that it wasn't turning out, like, I couldn't make it look like on the paper how I wanted it to look in my head. So I went to YouTube and typed in adult coloring. That's all I did, was adult coloring. And the sheer volume of videos that smacked me in the face was, like, just insane. The first videos that I stumbled across on YouTube were by Jennifer Stay at Coloring Pages Bliss, and Cher Kaufman, who is a coloring book illustrator, and let's see, who else? And Anne from A Colorful Life. Those were the 3 that I saw first. I don't know where this is coming from. I don't know what I've gotten on there. And so like you guys, I watched a lot of videos. I continued to color with, like, my Crayola color pencils, and I was happy with that, but like a lot of you guys, I continued to watch a lot of videos, and, you know, I understood that there were better pencils and that there were more professional looking techniques and things of that nature, but I wanted to keep learning before I tried to implement those. I wasn't really interested in picking up a pencil as soon as I started and trying to color like Chris Chang. I knew I wasn't going to be able to. So what I did was I took probably, I don't know, it took a while to learn. I did end up going back though and getting the Prismacolor Premier pencils that very same day, or like shortly thereafter, I don't remember now. I got them out and used them that one time and put them up because I hated them. I was like, oh, I don't see how people use these. But over time I got a little braver and I decided, well, let's try this technique, and lo and behold, it would work out for me. And then I would try another technique, and lo and behold, that one would work out for me. And then I got confident in my skills, and I was like, you know, I think I can make this work. I really think I think I can do this. And I don't know how, I don't know if any of you guys who are watching this feel the way I feel about it, but from the very start, when I first picked up colored pencils as an adult and put them to paper in an adult coloring book, I did not want to stop. Even to this day, if somebody would pay me to just sit here and color all day, I would be like in heaven. I would probably never leave my desk. I would become a workaholic and, you know, that kind of thing. That would be like the life. When I'm having a bad day, when I'm really stressed out, when things are going bad, I think about coloring. I do color. I make time to color every single day, even when I'm sick, even when things are going horribly wrong. I still make time to color. It's become my favorite thing to do. I have not missed a day of coloring probably since I started in the spring. I'm sharpening my pencil, guys. Doesn't take much to sharpen these. I am using a relatively new Coom manual sharpener, and it took me like 3 turns to sharpen it. I'm not going to put a lot of pressure on that to see if it's broken on the inside, because the brown ones I was using were broken. Hopefully that's not the case of the greens, so I'm just going to cross my fingers and hope for the best here. But like I said, I have been in contact with the manufacturer of the pencils. I do have a replacement set on the way to replace the couple of browns I used here that are pretty well gone now, once I tried to sharpen them enough to finish the back of this page. But I figure what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these greens on this vine and these plain looking leaves here, like this. And then I'm going to dig into the scorpion set. And we're going to get the greens out of that to color the holly leaves and a few other things in this image. And then that way I can tell you whether or not they really are truly the same pencil, just in different colors. I think that'll be kind of exciting because I have not touched the scorpion pencils yet. Just the Black Widow ones. And I do love them. Even though I did have the couple of browns that broke and repeatedly, you know, I don't let that frustrate me anymore. I've ordered, and you know, that's kind of what I was telling Albert too, the guy who runs the MediHealth One and the manufacturer of the pencils, and you know, that's kind of what I was explaining to him. It's like, you know, after you've ordered so many different types of colored pencils and had them mailed to your house, you kind of start to understand that things happen in transit, and you can't really always control whether or not you get your pencils are going to arrive with their cores intact. It's not the manufacturer's fault 90% of the time. So I don't get upset about things like that. I don't let it bother me, especially when you're working with a really excellent customer service team that is going to replace that pencil for you, or even the entire set in this case, over just, you know, a few ones that seem to be bad. And for those of you who are anti-Prismacolor because of the issues that Prismacolors are notorious for having, their customer services, I've never had any problems. They've always been incredibly polite. They asked to see a photo of what was wrong with my pencil. They apologized for it, and they immediately sent out new pencils every single time. And I haven't had that many issues, to be fair, so... I don't know. I don't let these things bother me. They used to, I think. They used to bother me more than they do now. But then you kind of eventually you get the, well, stuff happens attitude. So, my polychromos are supposed to be here tomorrow. And it's kind of nice, to be honest, that I don't really have to worry about what kind of, if they're all going to be broken on the inside because they're polychromos, and that's not likely to happen. So, my children are making so much noise in the other room. It's hilarious. Alright, so I've had a lot of fun coloring with these. And even in this book, and once I discovered it was Createspace, I'm not going to lie, my heart sank a little bit. But to be fair, it's not bad. It's just not. So I wouldn't say don't buy this book because it's Createspace. This one, anyway, the paper seems to be pretty good. Or then again, it could be the pencils. But I think I'm experienced enough with this paper to be able to tell you that it's going to be both. It's a combination of both. Just the fact that the paper isn't as bad as other Createspace paper, and the fact that the pencils are very nice, is both of these things are giving me a very nice coloring experience right now. It has been a very long day. I haven't had a lot of sleep. Pretty tired. So it was time to wind down and relax. I've been driving around all day, been working all day. Made supper. Did some laundry. You know what I mean? It's just like, gosh, I've been going like nonstop all stinking day. Oh, I did receive from Tanya in my Facebook group, who is just the sweetest thing. She had a set of 24 Inktense that she'd purchased. And I don't remember now. She said she didn't like them or something, and she wanted to send them to me so I could try them because I have never tried them before. So, sorry if the camera's shaking. So I got those today, and I did try them out, and to be honest, I did really like them. So I'll show you in case you didn't see it in one of the Facebook groups. I posted it in a couple different groups today. Where is it? Right here. So I drew my little tattoo rose, and it's kind of messy now because I smeared it before it was dry. I drew my little tattoo rose, and then I put some Inktense over it to make it look pretty. And I started out just coloring on it with colored pencil, and then I went back in with an extra fine water brush. I mean, I don't know if I just wasn't applying enough pencil, but it didn't appear like it was working very well. So what I eventually ended up doing was taking my pencil and holding it like this, and then using my paintbrush and dipping into the pencil like it was a pan of paint, and then painting it on. And that ended up working out a whole lot better for me. So I do like them. I'm really excited to play around with them a little bit more. Maybe try them out in some coloring books. That's Canson mixed media paper right there, and it did buckle it. Even though I was trying to use as little water as possible, I think what you'd need to do in coloring books would be to use the paint method, where you just kind of take your brush over the end of the pencil with just a tiny amount of water. I think that's going to be best, to be fair, because otherwise you're going to warp the pages in your books if you apply too much water. And I was struggling to activate the Inktense really when I just colored it straight onto the paper. And it could just be my lack of experience too. I probably just didn't have enough pencil down because here I was thinking that something incredible was going to happen with just a tiny, tiny amount of pencil, and it didn't. So my best guess is that I just didn't have enough pigment on the page so that I could activate it and move it with a minute amount of water. That's my guess. All right. So my vine's almost finished here. And I think I got all the little leaves like that too. So now we're just working on this little rest of this vine, which shouldn't take too terribly long. And now my teenage children are going to fight in the living room. They're going to sit in there and argue, and I'm going to have to go break it up because that's what I do. I didn't do that with this one up here. I was just thinking that, so let me fix this one too because it does kind of go down in there. And there are already several layers of this pencil on there, and I just put more. That's crazy. That's insane. But hey, I'll take it. All right, now let's take the light green and go back over heavy so we can mix it all up, smush it all together, make it look like a nice transition. And another thing I'm noticing about these sets of pencils, or this particular set anyway, is that the colors really do work together, and it's like they really tried hard to give you a light, medium, and dark for the most part. Now, some of the colors aren't going to come with a light, medium, and dark. When you're working with a set of 24, there's only so much you're going to be able to fit in there. But your greens are going to have light, medium, dark. Your blues are going to have light, medium, dark. Your browns are going to have light, medium, dark. And then when you add the scorpions to it, well, then you get even more options. So then it just opens up even more possibilities. And there are supposedly another set of pencils that are going to come out soon. So I'm excited about those. If they're anything at all like these, they are definitely going to be on my wish list. I'm really enjoying them. And I know that pretty well everybody that I've talked to that has these has recommended them and said they're very good. So I am very happy to have them. All right. Now back over with the lightest green. There we go. And I think that is the whole vine and all of the little leaves that I wanted to color with these particular greens. Let me back it out. It's pretty nice, guys. I'm enjoying these pencils a lot. All right, I'm going to go resolve the domestic dispute between my children, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to start working on some different leaves with greens from the Scorpion set. So, all right, everybody, sorry again for the interruption. Hopefully that's the last one that we are going to have tonight. While I was resolving the domestic dispute happening in the living room, that's a joke, by the way, my children were arguing, I did pull out some different colors from the Scorpion set. So we have olive green, grub green, green grass, and Irish green. And I just kind of want to see what they look like. I have not swatched these yet. So what I like to do is just kind of pull out some colors to use in these other leaves. Ooh, that's pretty. That one's the grub green. I really like that one. And then green grass. olive green. Those are all pretty. I think what we'll do is we'll stick to 2 colors for these other leaves. The fall-like ones, I'm going to use the green grass and the olive green because I want to try to keep these a little darker than the original ones were. Actually, no, let's not do that because I'm going to want the holly leaves to be the darker ones. So we'll use the other 2 colors. Alright, so because I just want, all I want in this picture is pinks, greens, and browns. That's it. So, otherwise I'd probably take some browns and reds or something to these and see what I could do with them. But because I'm limiting my color palette and really trying to challenge myself, I'm not going to do that. And I'm probably not going to have a whole lot more time to work on this tonight. Unfortunately, duty does call, so. And I think I may have actually started out with a darker color accidentally. Uh-oh. That's okay. I went lightly, so let's see if we can get the, we can still get this color to go on over, which is okay. So we'll put the lighter color just at the tips then. I could go in and erase, but nah. And darker color back down at the bottom again. And then fade it up. Same over here. And these pencils feel exactly like the Black Widow pencils. Exactly the same. The colors are slightly different, and I can see what they mean when they say they complement the colors in the Scorpion range, because they certainly do. You can use these together. They are not the same colors. And just one more time with the darker pencil so I can really really make that layering stand out a little more. There we go. And that's pretty nice. I'm pretty happy with that, actually. Let's do it the right way over here. Well, I'll do it on this bigger leaf for you guys. We'll start out with the lighter green, which is the Irish green. I'm just going to go in with a really light hand. And this is really light pressure, guys, really light. Again, the pigment load in the pencils is just very, very nice. Then I'm going to take my darker color down at the bottom, which is the grub green, and fade it upward into the leaf. And I can reserve those other 2 darker, even darker colors for the holly, because holly is typically a darker leaf, so. The lightest green in this set is not as bright as the lightest green in the Black Widows. So they would work very well together if you wanted to use, like if you wanted something to be a very light green, these 2 colors would undoubtedly blend very well together. It's actually quite pretty. I do like it quite a bit. And there is a nice selection of pinks and reds and in these 2 sets as well, so I'm really excited to do that. My plan is to do the ice skate in mostly pink. So we're going to do like the main parts of the ice skate in different colors of pink. And then I'm going to do green here, and perhaps even green here. And then, of course, try to come up with some kind of silver. I don't know if I'll put any more brown in it or not. I haven't decided. We'll see what happens. I might. Once I get in there and get the main colors light put in there, I may decide that it needs some more brown. But part of my thinking for that is I've got green and brown on the outside, so I do want to have green and brown as like the highlight colors for the inside, but I want the skate to be the only place that has the pink, because that'll make it really pop and stand out. So the background and the little frame around it will be just that, the background and the little frame around it. It won't be, it won't immediately draw the eye. The ice skate itself will be what draws the eye first and foremost. And then everything else will just kind of complement it. I'm trying to put this in the middle of the frame here so you guys can see better. This is really a lot of fun. I'm having so much fun. And, you know, once upon a time, if I had a Createspace book, I just wouldn't touch it. It just would make me so angry. But I'm really liking this one. I'm actually having fun. It's relieving my stress. It's, yep. I can't complain too much. The book was also a gift, so once again, to the person who sent me the book, and she knows who she is, I do want to say thanks again, because it is a wonderful, wonderful, adorable book, and I'm having a lot of fun coloring this picture in it. This is the first one I've colored. I don't know why an ice skate really stood out to me, but it did, so that is what I'm coloring. It just looked like fun. Well, guys, I'm going to have to wrap this one up because it is just a little bit after 7 now. So I've been on here with you guys for, I don't know, right at an hour, I think. It's been a lot of fun to sit down and color. I've been thinking about coloring this image all day long. I did start it last night, and it's been in the back of my mind all day. So I'm really glad that I did get to sit down with it for a while and kind of share my experience with you. Kind of talk to you guys a little bit about what Createspace paper is, why people dislike it so much. I hope that you guys, like, I hope that the way I explained it, and even the little picture that I drew for you, throw everything, even the little picture that I drew for you, I kind of hope that it made more sense to you as to, like, why, what the difference is between Createspace and other types of paper. If it didn't, if you have questions, if you feel like I didn't explain something enough, or if you have information that I simply don't have, please feel free to put it down there in the comments, and let us all know. I am all about learning new stuff, guys, so don't ever be afraid to comment if you have information to add to something. I had somebody the other day that left a comment and said, I have some advice, unsolicited advice, and I'm like, hey, unsolicited is usually the best kind and the kind that we need. So anytime you have some unsolicited advice, you feel free to put it down there. That's just how I feel about it. But if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, I do just want to let you guys know that I do a little bit of everything. So I'm going to do product reviews, color alongs, color and chats, tutorials. I am going to do a grayscale tutorial coming up, so if you guys are curious about how I color grayscale, then you can go ahead and subscribe and then hit the little bell, so whenever that first video comes out, you'll have access to it. I'm also going to be working on our Simple Art for Adults Christmas color along, which is in Johanna Basford's Johanna's Christmas, and we are coloring the ornaments page that has 12 ornaments on it. We're doing wonderful so far. I'm so proud of everybody in my Facebook group who has I've seen some of you guys improve like so much, just like instantly. It's crazy. You guys are doing things that I'm like, holy cow, are you kidding right now? That's beautiful. So I'm so proud of all of you. I just wanted to say that while we're here on the air. Other than that, if you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up so more people will be able to see it. If you think that it would benefit them to know a little bit more about Createspace or about the Scorpion and Black Widow pencils, I will be using these in a lot more of my videos, and I do plan to do kind of a more in-depth review. Today, you guys are just kind of getting my first impressions of them. That's all I have for you tonight, everybody, and I hope you enjoy the rest of you all's evening, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.